Hello and thanks for joining us. Coming up on today's show. It's one of the most important events on the fashion calendar and exists only in Paris. Haute Couture represents the highest quality money can buy, with price tags starting at €10,000. Held twice a year in Paris, fashion houses like Chanel and Dior put on shows to present painstakingly elaborate designs. And someone who has been running from show to show during Haute Couture Fashion Week is critic Jessica Michault. Welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
My pleasure.
Now, how does Haute Couture Fashion Week differ to regular Fashion Week?
Well, nothing that you see in Haute Couture you can buy off the rack at your local designer store. Everything is, like you said, made to measure, bespoke. A woman will go to a house twice at least to get measured so that each piece is exactly to her measurements. Basically, Haute Couture is the dream factory of fashion designers. You're getting the most exceptional of everything. Exceptional fabrics, exceptional workmanship, and also these elaborate, exceptional fantasies as far as dressing. And it's really also a transformative industry right now. We're seeing quite a lot of shifts within Haute Couture.
Okay, well, there are around 30 Haute Couture shows in Paris compared to 150 ready-to-wear shows each season. Let's start with the Lebanese designer Ellie Saab's princess dresses. What were they like?
They were exceptional. I have to say that Ellie Saab has gotten a name for himself and his client base. He's Lebanese, so you got this very elaborate, very lush design. But this time he kind of toned things down a bit. He was inspired by India and, women who had traveled to India from England at the turn of the last century. And you got these touches of India, but it wasn't over-the-top, bright Bollywood India. You saw a very calm color palette, very calm look about it. You would see just touches of a sari or a tunic. And then you saw also the shoes were very different. They were flats instead of heels. They were boots, sparkling boots, which again changes the perspective immediately of her house.
It's like hardcore princesses, isn't it?
Yes.
Well, let's move on to some of the big names now. There are 14 houses of Haute Couture that are permanent members. One is Dior, who had their first show without Raf Simons. Did we miss him?
I think you always miss the designer, the person that really gives a drive and a direction to a house. It's always interesting to see these collections that are happening when we're in between designers. Unfortunately for Christian Dior, it's twice. It's in the last 5 years that they've had to switch up and look for a new designer, and usually it's the design team that steps up and takes up the challenge. And what the design team did with this time was they really tried to relax it, make it a little bit more real world, a little more approachable, a little bit closer to ready wear, in a way that, again, to try and bring couture off of the red carpet into the real world, not just gala dresses, but something that you could maybe wear to a cocktail, that you could wear to lunch out with your friends. So that was the approach that the design team tried with this collection.
And do we have any idea who's going to take over at Dior?
Well, the top names that are buzzing about are Hedi Slimane, who currently is at Saint Laurent, Albert Albaz, formerly of Lanvin, and Phoebe Philo, who is at Celine. So those are the top names that we're talking about. But you never know. It could be an outsider, a dark horse, somebody nobody's talking about.
Okay, well, let's move on. Karl Lagerfeld has gone very ecological for Chanel, recycling pre-war ideas from Coco Chanel. Here he is speaking after the show.
You must not forget that in the 20s, before she made the little black dress, Chanel was called the Queen of the Beige. And I never made a Chanel collection nearly all beige, and I'm doing it for 33 years.
So Karl Lagerfeld was inspired by Coco Chanel's past. Was there anything new in the collection?
Yes, I mean, the workmanship was exquisite. If you got up close to this collection, you would see that all of the embroidery are actually little slices of wood or straw. I mean, that's what's modern about couture, or Karl's couture, is that he's always looking forward, looking to the future as far as technique is concerned.
Okay, Jean-Paul Gaultier is no longer doing ready-to-wear. So Haute Couture is our chance to see his creations. He's gone all nostalgic with an ode to Paris nightlife of the 80s. Take a look. fabulous things there. Did you feel like you were in a nightclub?
Absolutely. Jean-Paul Gaultier knows how to throw a party. But it was great because not only was it a party, the clothes was fantastic, the workmanship was fantastic. So as much as you were having fun, you could also appreciate all the hard work that went into that show.
And was it champagne?
There was lots of champagne, lots of dancing, lots of champagne.
Okay, where does he get his unstoppable energy and creativity from? He never stops.
He never stops. I think with Jean-Paul, it's always this, the beat of the city streets. He's always been an innovator, always taking the ideas of what he's seeing people wearing in the streets and bringing it up to this high level of couture. He's always been a rebel and a boundary barrier breaker, as it were, and has really broken a lot of taboos in fashion, and we're grateful for it.
Okay, well, the Haute Couture shows aren't typically brimming with new talent, but the Chambre syndicale, and France's governing body of Haute Couture, recently elected 3 relatively young talents to its roster as guest members. One was Chinese couturier Guo Pai, known best for concocting pop star Rihanna's dress for the Metropolitan Museum of Art's Costume Institute Gala in New York. That took seamstresses 50,000 hours and more than 2 years to make, and landed on the cover of American Vogue. It's the first time a Chinese designer was invited to the show. She says her collection is a gift to Paris.
它的主题叫庭院，它更多的想表达。
What I'd like to do through this collection is take traditional elements from the Emperor's Courtyard to Paris.
皇家庭院走出来，并且能够带着这种我们
This collection is some kind of gift to
当然
Paris.
走到了这个巴黎。
And also you'll
其实
see
可能在
that
里
there are
面
elements
看不
from
到太
Chinese
清晰的
tradition.
传统
Many
元素
things are
但是因为我
handmade,
觉得
which
它
is
因为
also
要落
part
脚
of
在这里
Chinese
定位
tradition.
在这里，所以是献给巴黎的。
So did she bring something different to Paris Haute Couture, Jessica?
Absolutely. Guo Pei, I've seen her shows in Singapore, and those are quite elaborate theatrical pieces. Here she toned things down, really took in what Paris has to offer, and really tailored her really ornate collection to something a little bit more reserved, a little bit more ready for Paris. So yeah, it was beautiful.
And do you think she was inspired from back home, though, anyway?
Absolutely. You could definitely see touches of the handiwork. I mean, they're famous in China for their craftsmanship, just like here in France. So it was nice to see her bringing the craftsmanship of her home country here to France and bringing both of those two cultures together.
And do you think Paris is welcoming of Chinese fashion?
We're definitely welcoming of Chinese buyers, that's for sure, and Chinese fashion. We also have Yi Qiying, who was just named to the as an official member of the federation, and she's of Chinese origin. And I think if you have talent, it doesn't really matter where you come from. You're welcome here in Paris.
No, you're right. And another guest member was Yassine Ouadi, born in Marseille in the south of France to Algerian parents. How was his show?
Well, that was quite interesting. He had just 13 looks, but smartly, it's just his second collection. What he did was he did a presentation where you could get up close and personal to the clothing as opposed to having a runway show. And that's where you can really get in and see the workmanship and see the talent of a designer is you have those kind of presentations, in particular for haute couture.
And when you go to these young talent shows, can you really see the difference? Like if you didn't know whose show you were at, would you know, oh, this is someone new?
Yes, absolutely. There's maybe there's a question of the finishing, the materials that are used, the intricacy of the work, and that just comes with experience. And also if you have a giant atelier, that also helps get you a little bit further down the road.
Okay, well, the number 13 was very significant in his show. 13 outfits, and the number 13 appeared on some of them. Here's the designer talking about why 13 is lucky for some.
I chose the number 13, first of all, because it's the number of the department in France where I was born. I was born in Marseille. And the more I become creative, the more I became superstitious. So for the first collection, we decided to make 13 different styles, and that was good luck for us. So I figured I should continue. So it's another 13 styles.
So together, Ouadi and Pai represent a new face of couture. Is this a sign the world of couture is inching towards diversity, do you think?
Yes, absolutely. We're seeing definitely the Federation looking around the world to bringing young designers in for couture, for ready-to-wear. They're always exploring to see who are the best in the world and to bring them to Paris, because designers who show in Paris really have to bring your A game. You really got to be at the top of your game to make it here.
Okay, so that's Haute Couture finish. When's our next lot of fashion shows?
Well, they've just launched menswear in New York, so there's that in 2 weeks. Then we're into ready-to-wear, and it's New York, Milan, Paris, and London.
It never stops. It comes around so quickly.
So fast.
Okay, well, we're going to leave you with pictures from the French label On Aura Tout Vu, best known for the sparkling bolero jacket made for Madonna. Are you a fan of these guys?
Yes, those two, they're quite a character. Together, they make some amazingly interesting, unforgettable shows.
Not stuff that we're going to see on the street, though. No.
No.
Okay, well, they produced the most otherworldly collection. Take a look. Remember our website. We're also on Twitter and Facebook. There's more news coming up on France 24 after this.